Last time, we just focused on stating the null and alternative hypothesis, as well as determining whether it is a two-tailed test, a left-tailed test, or a right-tailed test. We will now apply the method of hypothesis testing focusing on the population mean. So our topic for today is hypothesis testing concerning means. Ibig sabihin, magkakandak tayo ng hypothesis testing para ma-verify natin kung tama ba yung kiniklaim na mean or hindi. Okay? In hypothesis testing concerning means, we consider the sample size and whether the population standard deviation is given or not. If the sample size is large enough, which is greater than or equal to 30, and the population standard deviation is given, then we have to use the z-test. On the other hand, if the sample size is small, which is less than 30, and the population standard deviation is not given, then we use the t-test. And these two methods are being used if the population is normally distributed. Okay? There are 4 approaches or methods in hypothesis testing concerning means, but we will just use one, which is the traditional method. For this lesson video, we will focus only on the z-test. So let's proceed. Here are the steps in hypothesis testing. There are 5 steps. Step 1, you have to state the null and alternative hypothesis. Step 2, specify the level of significance or alpha of the test. And these are the commonly used level of significance. But if the level of significance is not stated in the problem, 5% significance level is being used. Okay? Kung ang significance level is 0.05, it means that you presume that there is only 5% probability of committing type 1 error. Ibig sabihin, we are 95% sure na tama ang magiging desisyon natin. Maa-accept ang null hypothesis kung tama. Mare-reject ang null hypothesis kung dapat i-reject. Okay? Step 3 is to find the critical value. And it is the value from the appropriate table, which is this one, which the test statistic is required to reach before we can reject the null hypothesis. Dito tayo magbe-base ng critical value considering the given level of significance and the type of tail test. And sa step 3 rin, we have to compute for the test statistic. So this is the formula for the test statistic. Step 4, compare the critical value with the test statistic. So if the test statistic falls within the rejection region or if it reaches or touches the critical value, then we have enough evidence from the sample data to cause us to reject the null hypothesis and conclude that the alternative hypothesis is true. Pag umabot yung computed test statistic natin sa critical value or pag nag-fall sa rejection region yung test statistic, it means that we have to reject the null hypothesis in favor of the alternative hypothesis. But if the test statistic falls within the non-rejection region, then we have to accept the null hypothesis. Then step 5 is to make a conclusion. So let's have this example number 1. A flour mill produces flour in small bags before distributing them to wholesalers. The average weight of each bag is 8 kg with a standard deviation of 0.5 kilograms. A random sample of 50 bags was taken and it was found that the average weight is 7.8 kilograms. Using a significance level of 0.01, test the truth of the claim. So example number 1, kiniklaim daw ng isang flour mill na ang average weight ng each bag ay 8 kilograms. Ngayon, kumuha ng 50 random sample bags. And nakita na 7.8 kilograms lang yung average weight. Now, we have to conduct hypothesis testing kung tama ba yung kiniklaim talaga na 8 kilograms yung average weight ng each bag, considering the other given in this problem. In this problem, since the sample size is greater than 30, which is 50, and the population standard deviation is given, which is 0.5 kilograms, then we have to use the z-test. Take note that this standard deviation is the population standard deviation. Okay? Kasi galing siya sa population. Galing siya dito sa hypothesized population mean. So, step 1. What do you think is the null hypothesis? Ito ba yung null and alternative hypothesis? The average weight of each bag is equal to 7.8 sa null hypothesis. On the other hand, the average weight of each bag is not equal to 7.8. Is this correct? Take note that hypothesis is a statement about a population parameter. So, hypothesis about population parameter. So, we cannot use 7.8 because it is the sample mean. Galing lang siya sa 50 bags. Mean of the sample. Ang dapat na nasa hypothesis is the population mean. So, our null hypothesis here should be the average weight of each bag is 8 kilograms, and the alternative hypothesis here is the average weight of each bag is not equal to 8 kilograms. And we have to test the truth of this claim. Okay, let's proceed. Step 2. Specify the level of significance. So the given level of significance in the problem is 0.01. Step 3. Find the critical value and compute for the test statistic. So we will use this table to determine the critical value or the critical values. Simply locate the given level of significance in the problem, which is 0.01, and the type of test in the problem. So by looking at the hypothesis here in step 1, we can say that it's a two-tailed test. So ilocate natin dito sa table. The level of significance is 0.01 and it is a two-tailed test. Get the intersection, it's 2.58. And since it is a two-tailed test, it means that both end tails of the graph of a normal curve have critical values and rejection regions. So we have to use both the positive and negative critical values. So we write here positive, negative 2.58. This time, let's compute for the test statistic. So the formula is the sample mean minus the hypothesized population mean all over the population standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. Let's do the substitution. The given sample mean is 7.8. Bakit kino-consider natin na sample mean sa 7.8? Kasi itong nakuhang average weight ay galing lang sa 50 bags. So it's the sample mean. So we write here 7.8 minus, what about the hypothesized population mean? Ito yung kiniklaim. So ang kiniklaim na average weight is 8 kilograms. So we put here 8. All over, the given population SD is 0.5. So put here 0.5 and divide it by the sample size, which is 50. Then just use your scientific calculator to get the answer. It's 2.83. Let's try to draw the graph. So this is the normal curve. Then both end tails have critical values, negative 2.58 and positive 2.58, because it is a two-tailed test. So these are the rejection regions. Now let's have step 4. Compare the critical value with the test statistic. Consider these critical values and the test statistic, 2.83. Magfo-fall ba sa rejection region or sa non-rejection region si test statistic? Take note, this is the non-rejection region and these parts are the rejection regions. Nasaan kaya si 2.83? Magfo-fall ba siya sa rejection region or sa non-rejection region? Yes. Sabihin natin nandito siya. 2.83. So for step 4, we write since the computed test statistic or the computed z-value, which is 2.83, lies or falls within the rejection region, we reject the null hypothesis. So that's for step 4. You just have to decide whether you have to reject or accept the null hypothesis. Then step 5 is to make a conclusion. Since we have rejected the null hypothesis, papaniwalaan natin si alternative hypothesis. So in step 5, we write, we conclude that the average weight of each bag of flour is not equal to 8 kilograms. Again, in step 5, we conclude that the average weight of each bag of flour is not equal to 8 kilograms. So that's it for example number 1. I hope it's clear to you. Let's have example number 2. A local mini market sells 1 kilogram packs of sugar. There are complaints that the weight of the sugar sold is less than a kilogram. A consumer association selects a sample of 50 packs, and the sample shows that the average weight is 0.99 kilograms only. The consumer association assumes the population standard deviation to be 0.05 kilograms. Using a 0.05 level of significance, test whether the sugar packs sold are underweight. So let's start with the step 1. It is a good idea to pause the video for a while. What do you think will be the null and alternative hypothesis? Kiniklaim daw ng isang local mini market na ang average weight ng kada pack ng sugar ay 1 kilogram. Pero may mga nagrereklamo na underweight daw. And kumuha sila ng 50 packs na sample and lumabas na yung average weight ay 0.99 kilograms only. So kulang. Now we have to test whether the sugar packs sold are underweight. So we have to conduct hypothesis testing. So what do you think will be the null and alternative hypothesis? Our null hypothesis here is mu is equal to 1. Kasi nga, yun yung kiniklaim na 1 kilogram daw yung average weight ng each pack of sugar. And the alternative hypothesis here will be what? Our keyword here is underweight. So, itetest daw natin kung yung sugar packs na pinapabili ay underweight. So, what symbol do you think should we use? Should we use greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to? It's less than 1. Itetest natin kung yung average weight of each pack of sugar is underweight. So we have to use less than 1. Take note that our reference here is located on the left side. So this symbol is less than, and it is a left-tailed test. Let's have step 2. Specify the level of significance. In this problem, we have 0.05 level of significance. Step 3. Let's find the critical value. Consider the given level of significance, and it is a left-tailed test. Let's use this table again. The level of significance is 0.05 and it is a left-tailed test, so it is understood to be a one-tailed test. Get the intersection. It's 1.645. Since it is a left-tailed test, we will consider only the negative symbol. So our critical value here is negative 1.645. If it is a right-tailed test, then you have to use the positive symbol. And if it is a two-tailed test, you have to use both the positive and the negative symbols. Okay? I hope it's clear to you. Let's have the test statistic. Again, we have this formula. So let's do the substitution. What is the given sample mean? It's 0.99 kilograms. Subtract it to the hypothesized population mean, which is 1. All over, the given population standard deviation is 0.05. Divide it by the sample size, which is 50. Then use your scientific calculator. It's negative 1.41. So let's have the graph. Locate the critical value. Since it is negative, it is located on the left side of the mean. We have here negative 1.645. Therefore, this is the rejection region. Then locate negative 1.41. Para masagutan natin si step 4, ilocate natin si negative 1.41. Nasaan ba si negative 1.41 dito sa graph? Magfo-fall ba siya sa non-rejection region or magfo-fall siya sa rejection region? Let's have step 4. Since the computed z-value, which is negative 1.41, lies or falls within what? Within the non-rejection region, we accept the null hypothesis. Nag-fall kasi siya sa non-rejection region. Sabihin natin nandito si negative 1.41. Hindi siya umabot sa negative 1.645 na critical value. So, safe si null hypothesis. Then lastly, for step 5, we conclude that the average weight of each pack of sugar is 1 kilogram. Since hindi natin ni-reject si null hypothesis, since inaccept natin si null hypothesis, papaniwalaan natin si null hypothesis. And that's it for this lesson video. I'll just give you additional examples on Friday. Thank you for listening ng Kada Bag.